You're listening to the 4-Phase Cycle podcast with your hosts, Dr. Alex and Megan of Zesty Ginger. If you're looking to naturally balance hormones and learn how to work with your body instead of against it, you've definitely come to the right place. As a duo of an integrative MD and a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and best friends, we use the 4 phases of the female cycle in combination with functional lab work and mindset practices to transform the lives of the women we work with.
We also have a whole lot of fun along the way. If you're new around here, it's best to start with season 1 before jumping around and plan to roll up your sleeves. Showing up for ourselves and enjoying our lives is what good health is all about. Just a quick reminder though, this information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor before making changes. Hey there, welcome back to the podcast. I just had the most amazing interview with the co-founders of Top, the Organic Project, and we talked about how they started the business, why they care about this business, why they're raising the standard of period products, the environmental impact of period products, and also really changing the conversation around periods, puberty, and they have this really cool thing called the Top First Period box, which so many good resources were suggested in this episode, especially if 1, you have not yet switched over to organic period products yourself, or 2, if you have young daughters like me coming up into this world. A great way to introduce them and really to start wrapping your head around how you can change the conversation now if that conversation was not as open to you as maybe you're hoping for it to be to them. Like, can we teach our daughters and our sons that your cycle is your superpower? This is an amazing thing. There's super things to tap into, and that it's not just like, the bane of our existence. So bringing fun to Femcare. Thyme Sullivan is the co-founder and CEO of Top, the Organic Project. So she spent 27 years in CPG at PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and most recently an executive at Nestle USA. So quite the shift for her. Denielle Finkelstein is the co-founder and president of Top, the Organic Project, and she spent 22 years in fashion retail at Ann Taylor, Coach, Kate Spade, and most recently as the chief merchant at Talbot. So both Thyme and Denielle were in the height of their careers and decided to take the biggest risk, both personally and professionally, and joined forces in 2018 and created Top, the Organic Project. So they both have daughters, and when they were looking for better and healthier period products, they came up empty-handed, and this is when Top was born. Like so many other amazing companies, right? So we are so lucky, they are so lucky to have built a brand together as a family, their cousins as moms, as women, and as friends. They're women-owned social impact brand bringing organic, sustainability, and plant-based to period products. So their products are going to raise the standard of Femcare and bring transparency to this category and just really empower this next generation of women and girls to change the conversation about periods. We also talk about a tampon suit, so you are not going to want to miss this episode. So let's get right into it. But first, a word from our sponsors. Top, the Organic Project, is a women-owned social impact brand that is bringing fun to Femcare. Top was founded by 2 fearless moms who ditched their corporate careers to build a brand with a purpose that was inspired by their 2 daughters. They are raising the standard for period care by bringing innovation to a space that has lacked transparency and sustainability, and what goes in and on our bodies matters more than ever. Top tampons, pads, and liners are 100% certified organic cotton, plant-based, and sustainably sourced. They are plantastic. I love that. So Top is offering our community 25% off your first purchase with the code ZestyGinger25. We'll put it in the show notes, all one word, all caps, and head on over to toporganicproject.com to shop the entire collection of organic period products and use that code ZestyGinger25 to get 25% off your first order. You can also find them at Amazon, Fresh Thyme, Wegmans, Fresh Market, and coming soon to Sprouts and Target. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Four Phase Cycle podcast. Megan Blacksmith here today, and I have two fabulous guests. Pretty excited about this because not only are they our guests on the podcast, they are also our sponsors. So, welcome, Denielle and Thyme. They are the co founders of Top Organic Project. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. We're
Yeah.
thrilled to be here.
Cool. This month, we're really focusing on how do we help teens and young women and women in general, right, really get in touch with owning this amazing body they have, knowing the options they have for products, and just a little more empowerment, right? So our whole thing here
Yes.
at Zesty Ginger is education and then empowerment and then enjoyment. That's what we want in the end, is to actually enjoy some stuff. So I know you two ladies are doing big things in this area. So if you could just bring me back, whoever'd like to start, just how you got started. First, tell everybody what your company is, how you got started in this area, and just take us backtrack a little bit of where this all began.
All right. Well, Megan, thank you so much for having us here. We are thrilled. We are big fans of you and Alex. And I know I first noticed you. I love all the fun that you guys have. I think Sarah Blakely says it best when she says that you don't take yourselves too seriously, but you do serious things. We fell in love with you on TikTok. So you guys are awesome. And we were drawn to you because, again, we are also about women's health and empowerment. And our company is called Top the Organic Project. And both Denielle and I, first of all, are cousins, and we're the co-founders. And we both had big careers. And we both have daughters. And we both got to this crossroads in our careers, and we're looking for our purpose. And at the same time, I've got a 14-year-old daughter. So a few years back, we went looking for, everything in our lives was organic and sustainable, and nobody was talking about period care. And as we started to dig in deep and got really obsessed with this idea of how can we make positive change in the world for our daughters and empower this next generation, we discovered three big problems with feminine care, and enough so that we left our jobs to pursue it, and over much to our husband's dismay.
Yes.
We were both the breadwinners in our families, but we had, I had consumer products background. Denielle had a big branding marketing background. So we knew the industry, but what we didn't know in period care was that there was just this lack of organic products that worked well, that were good. There was this huge lack of transparency, which we thought was incredibly unfair, that women don't know what's in their products. The sustainability piece was mind-blowing because my daughter was walking around with her tote bags and her steel straws, and all the celebrities are talking about it. But feminine care is actually a bigger sustainability issue with the plastic applicators and plastics and synthetics in pads. So that was huge. And then on top of it, not just in developing countries, which we were all aware of, but in the US, 1 in 5 girls has missed school because she didn't have access to period products. So as moms, that's heartbreaking. You talk about, you can't turn on the news and not hear about equality, and women are never going to be equal if they miss a quarter of their education because they can't go to school or sports or theater. So it was just, there was enough to it that we were like, all right, we're going to do something about it, and here we are.
So glad you did. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what were the biggest hurdles for this? Why was nobody doing this? What is your take on that?
It wasn't that people were starting to do it. So it was just a category that was very far behind. So, my background in consumer products with Coke and Pepsi and Nestle. So I'm a huge grocery geek. I was watching in the stores over the years as everything was turning organic and non-GMO and gluten-free, and people were wearing, talking about packaging and all these different things, and nothing was happening in feminine care. That aisle in the store still looked like it was from the 60s. So there just wasn't a lot of innovation, and you started to see some direct-to-consumer brands come on board. We talk to them about our peers, but all of them, even today, as we're all launching into retail and bringing more organics into traditional retail outlets, they're largely focused on millennials. They're talking to this millennial, which is great. I mean, anybody that's out there educating women, high five, all for it. But nobody was us as moms, who are the people that are shopping in the stores that have these daughters. My daughter's 14 years old. Danielle's daughter is 10, soon to be 11. They're right in this sweet spot. And there wasn't anybody having this conversation, giving these girls the information that they need, providing a better product, and making it accessible where they are and where they're looking for it. So we just found this kind of this space that we wanted to be there, because even raised by crazy hippies, which we were,
Hippies,
like
yes.
super duper hippies, like Woodstock hippie, hippie, made all our own clothes. Like I could go
Farmers
on,
markets
a
back
whole other
then. Oh
podcast,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
My life in Monterey, California, we can talk later. But
I lived on a farm.
she did legit, like legit. And even like our moms, like my mom's, like they're under the saying good luck. Like there just has never been this normalcy about the conversation. And that's why I love what you guys are doing so much. Like the things you talk about in your podcast, you're like, why was this never a conversation? Why was it so taboo? And once you make it normal, I think what you did too is by coming out on TikTok and making people notice you, then it makes that conversation so much easier. And we didn't find anybody. Another thing that you guys do is you say you have fun along the way. We didn't find anybody who was filling this space, giving good education, but also making it approachable and fun. If you can say that about period care. You can.
Well, and so much of education, we are the generation. So, we're this Gen X, and we're the generation that it was, like Thyme said, your moms may still have told you to go find it under the counter. We have to educate our generation. Like we are the critical generation to educate, so that this Gen Z and these young daughters who are coming up, that they feel empowered to what, they're empowered, that they can understand what's happening to their bodies. We have to start it here. And that's not what's happening right now. And so really the goal is that if we can start to empower, yes, us as moms, but if we can also create those moments of understanding, start early. It doesn't have to even be when she gets her period. Start these conversations earlier than that. Let her know what's happening to her body. We really hope at the end of the day, like as we're doing this, yes, we want better products. That's super important. But if we can also be part of the change where women and these young girls, young menstruators start to understand their health earlier on, they become advocates for themselves as they get older. I think for myself, and I think Thyme could say the same thing, is that most women, our generation, never really took control of their health until they had kids. And this is the piece of, now we know that there are so many reproductive issues. There are also just so many issues around feminine health that, PCOS, endometriosis, all of these other aspects, that if young girls understand some of the flags, they can start advocating for themselves earlier on. And that's actually really the exciting part for us, that we can be part of that education process. That's I love that aspect of how we are also intertwining that into the brand, because we can actually change this course for these young women.
Oh, so good. So powerful. I'd love to start with actually talking a little bit about the product specifically, and then I'd love to dig more into really changing that conversation for young people and teens. And that's something, I have 2 girls, so 5 and 10, and definitely something on my mind. Let's go back to just the idea around, raising the standard of period products. And I've had enough people who've said to me, who are, well into many, many, many years of periods, they're discovering, oh my goodness, when I switched products, I no longer have X. I no longer have these crazy cramps. And imagine the frustration of like, you've been using this thing and having no idea that it can have an impact. Obviously not everybody's experiencing that. And there are some of us, I'm the redhead with the susceptible to feeling all the things. So, let's just talk about raising the standard of the products, and what are you making sure to have in there or to avoid in there? What are some things for people to look out for in that category?
And that's huge. I would tell you that Denielle is probably one of the most organic people I've ever met. Like, no, legit, her kids sleep on organic mattresses, and I'm willing to bet that's organic wallpaper behind her. Like everything in this house, like everything. All right. And when her and I reconnected and started talking about this, it was the one thing that we didn't think of. And I literally, as part of like focus, would go to Whole Foods and I'd walk up to complete strangers and be like, "Great looking basket you got there." Like,
they're like, "Who's this lady?"
Organic feminine hygiene. There'd be like, super weird question, but I hadn't really thought about it. And I was like, I knew it, because we just accepted that what was always there. Like an interesting statistic is that 80% of women use what their mom bought for them. So if we're not having this conversation back then, and 10 million girls get their period every year, which is incredible. But what was happening with the products is it's hard to get women to switch because they want to use what works. Performance is the most important thing. But when they switch and they realize that traditional 100% organic cotton is highly absorbent, it's much more comfortable. There was so much to it. The big differentiator is not just the organic cotton, that you have to be aware of dyes, synthetics, toxins, fragrances, pesticides, bleach, like you name it. The scary part is that the US FDA doesn't require companies to disclose the ingredients or test the impact of women's health. So it's this big black hole, and they can use the cheapest ingredients and not even list them. You don't even know what's there. So it was so important to us to make a product that worked, that was 100% organic, but also sustainable. Think about it. Those plastic applicators, they're number 5 on the list of plastic that are bad, that are ending up in our ocean. So it's 5 is feminine hygiene, and 6 and 7 is bags and straws, or straws and bags. So that's,
Wow.
yet no celebrities were talking about it, because who wants to talk about tampons? But it's a huge issue. Everybody's seen them on the beach. It's terrible. So it was about the sustainable, it's about the performing, and even pads. The traditional pads are, even if they're organic, it's often just an organic cotton top sheet. And the traditional products have a lot of synthetics, drying powders, all kinds of things that cause irritation and can, there's no studies, because they don't have to disclose what the ingredients are. But if you really think about it, what you put in and on your body matters so much. Why would you ever put any fragrances, dyes, bleach, pesticides, things?
Yeah.
The official ruling from the FDA on their website said that the amount of toxins that women were exposed to each month was at an acceptable level. And there's no acceptable level. There isn't for, we do it with everything else.
Yeah, we've done this water test where you put our tampon in versus some of the traditional tampons, and what it blows your mind. One is that ours absorbs more water. It's 100% cotton. You don't have all the rayons and synthetics. But truly what blows our mind is when you look across the water, the particles and the fragments that come off the other tampons, the water is cloudy and it's filled with all of these like particles, because it's all breaking off. So if you just think about your body, your vagina is one of your most permeable parts of your body. So those fragments are coming off inside of you. So that's the other part too, is yes, you've got all these synthetics, you've got all these other things that we have to be worried about, but what are some of these other foreign materials, particularly if you're using a tampon? I mean, it is like our water is crystal clear. We've used the joke, like, which water would you drink? Because honestly, you'd never drink the other two. Drink ours because it's crystal clear. And so, I think that's just like another thing too, like a visual thing that has been very, very impactful for us. The one thing Thyme didn't talk about, just definitely around this sustainability piece, is we actually early on, we started our business with cardboard tampons, cardboard applicator tampons. And candidly, it almost shut our business down, because in our minds, we were, again, these like hippie girls were like, hey, we're going to get everyone to change to the cardboard tampon. Like, why? Like, let's get rid of it. Oh, no. So 90% of, actually it's almost 95% of the US tampon market is plastic. And so we were trying to really push this concept, and our friends and family made a couple of the couple tiers out that people were purchasing. But it was very clear that as moms were trying to get this younger generation to come and join us, they were never going to join us. And so we really did a tremendous amount of work and found with our manufacturer that we were able to source a plant-based applicator. And that was the game changer for the business. And right now, honestly, like that's what, we truly believe, and we've trademarked the term planticator. So that's really like what the applicator is now. It's a plant plastic. And so that really for us is like, that is where also we're talking about raising the standard of feminine care. And that's what's really going to differentiate us and change what's happening in this aisle, as well as just changing what's happening in this category. We're as we say, like, it's fantastic. Like being able to bring plant-based in as much as we can. Our wrappers are all biodegradable. They're cornstarch based. So all the different aspects of what we've put in, it always was about better products, but it was also about how can we leave a better impact on the environment when we're done with this.
I love that. So are you all going to have a commercial anytime soon?
Well, we need a little bit more fundraising then.
we have a good social media presence, and I'll tell you a funny story. You know, we started to go down that road. When you asked about the products, we do get like very passionate about the health benefits and the sustainability. But another thing that we found early on is really like fear mongering does not work. Like nobody wants to hear it. Like they just don't. Like even though it's like a super scary statistic or whatever, they're like, nope. Like they tune out. And it really wasn't until we brought some levity to it and normalized the conversation. And at that turning point, when we finally found the plant-based, we're like, how do we get people to listen to us? Is when I went on a Halloween website and bought a really crappy tampon costume. And I was like, all right, we're going all in. I'm going to train for a 10K and I'm going to run the race as a tampon. It's either going to be the best thing we ever did or it'll make for a good story, like whatever.
Best thing we ever did.
Well, for everybody but me, it was a very hot day.
It was for everybody. We all got a good laugh.
Hot. The spring was just abusive the whole time. Everything about like the pictures are funny, but we got noticed like on the news and on the radio, and literally the buyer from Wegmans saw and was like, that is really funny. Like these women are all in. But it was really, you know, so early on, it was always us talking with our girlfriends about, oh, we're gonna, start this company and here's why we're doing it. It's so important to our daughters and whatever. And then once like we came out with the tampon suits and I went to yoga and I went out for Bloody Marys and I got my hair done and I went to the supermarket. And my kids were so horrified. They're like, yes, stay away from the schools. Can you that like perimeter around the schools where you like can't have guns? Like that's the same for me because I was like jogging one day. They're like, you are too close to the school out jogging, like with my friends. Like it was hilarious. But it was then all of a sudden we would go out to social pre-COVID engagements. And now all the husbands were like, all right, sorry in the suit. Like, that's pretty funny. Like, what are you doing? And it was the same thing. I love the story that I was listening to, Oprah, who's on my vision board, talking to Lady Gaga about, she said on one of her Super Soul sessions, like, so tell me about the meat suit, the suit made out of meat. And Lady Gaga was like, oh my God. She's like, well, I wouldn't wear it now, but back then I had to have people see me to hear me. And I was like, yes, I'm like, that's exactly what it was with the suit. Until people could see us, they really couldn't hear us because we were just like literally like Charlie Brown's teacher in the back, like wah, 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 tampon, wah, 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 tampon. But then when you're in a suit, like everybody wants to be part of the conversation and everybody wants to get in the suit. I have a dozen. We've got to do a flash mob with us.
We will. We'll send you one. If you want one, we will send you one. I want
a suit. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, we will send one. Oh my God.
Because you will put it to good use. You are fearless, my friend.
I would love a suit. So
you got to wear it loud and proud. Yes.
This is really great because this is the changing the conversation. And this is, I feel like a really good coach or a business with a mission. You have to be willing to do whatever it is, right? Like, you have to, like you said, you've got to kind of break the trance. You've got to bust people out of what they believe. And that's what we're all about. So I love that was, I'd never heard that story. That's fabulous. I can just picture it. So I'm going to need a picture of you in the suit.
We'll send you the pictures.
Several.
Oh yes.
There's actually a picture behind me of us going out for coffee, me in my suit, and she's wearing her unicorn headband. But that was the best part. Like we were both like legit executives and everyone said, yes, because you're magical. But everyone's like, you can't be a tampon, you're a CEO. I'm like, that's exactly why I can. And that's exactly, I think when we really got true to ourselves and be like, you know what, it's okay to go left when everybody goes right. Like that's when it really like clicked because we were trying so hard to build a brand like we did at, Kate Spade or at Pepsi and follow the rule book. And you can't as an entrepreneur. If you were going to do that, you might as well just stay in that job and do it like you always do it. But that was the hardest muscle to untrain and to get really comfortable with just being ourselves and making it fun. Again, otherwise, like, what?
Yeah, I think that's the piece too. I think that's the piece as well, is like being able to still do something very serious. As Thyme started the entire conversation with Sarah Blakely's quote is we're having fun along the way while we're doing this. And we're, there are hard moments, but no matter what, like we're bringing fun into this and everything that we do, there can be fun in Femcare. Like, why not? And we can change the conversation, but people in general just want levity. There's so much seriousness. We carry so much stuff on our shoulders and there's so much serious out in the world. Like this is one conversation. And when you see other brands doing it, so the one that we always think is very interesting is Poopery. She has put it out there like, listen, we all poop. Yes. And this happens. And she makes it funny. And so it's the same type of thing. Like we're just trying to do that as well, but still have the conversation along the way. So you do, to Thyme's point, you start to listen.
Wait, can we interrupt for 1 second and say what Susie Batiste did? We went to
Oh my God.
one of those, like, I don't know, it was a
It was a big
things we went early on to listen to all these entrepreneurs. And it was super cool. And she was one of the ones there. We hadn't heard of her. She did this amazing speech and talk about like a self-made woman, whatever. But you walk into the bathroom and she so gets her brand and she so is her brand. Literally every bathroom stall had this awesome giant like decal on it that said "Do epic shit." We were like, well, there you go. Like,
brilliant. Brilliant.
Appropriate for poopery.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it. And the people you're mentioning, Sarah Blakely and Susie Batiste, like they're all about alignment and manifestation and like being in your power, and then your brand goes. So I love this conversation, and I love, so I brought up the commercial thing because as you know, and I'm sure you've heard, right? So seen that all the commercials for the tampons and the Advil or whatever it is, it's like this image of a woman in a suit, still being the CEO or like playing tennis. And it's like, don't let your period stop you.
Mm-hmm.
And like, right, like whatever it is. So Dr. Alex and I have a problem with this because we really believe in the power of the cycle to listen to the body. Right?
You actually say the superpower, which is what we use. We use superpower all the time.
Yes.
So I love this.
So it's just this message of, the message I get is that, it's not okay to slow down. It's not okay to actually, you kind of do want to sit on the couch for a few days of your cycle. And when you do, amazing things then happen in your brain that take, skyrockets you for the rest of the month. And if we're told like this, don't ever stop. I totally understand you I would love to, not bleed through my pants and stand in front of a meeting if you need to. Like, that's great. I'm all for women being up there. It's just the message of kind of like hide it. And again, like don't ever show blood if it's related to women and that kind of thing. So I'm noticing, my daughter who's 10 is, I don't know where she's getting these messages because hello, my business, right? Like we talk about this openly, and she's still kind of getting these messages. So to me, I'm like, it's gotta be just in the shows and the media and the TV, right? She's just in her hypnotic state whenever she's in it, she's going straight in. So I am going to need a really big tampon suit to counteract this.
Yes. Oh my God. I have to I'm going to send you the video of my daughter this summer. Like one day I'm working.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
Whatever. And she's like, can you bring me my bathing suit so I can go on my friend's boat? And can you like hurry? Cause we're like getting ready to leave. And I was like, oh, I'm coming. Don't you worry. Strap the suit, whatever. She was so pissed. Like
it was the best. It was the best.
Like, that's the first video that I'll send you because I was like, look, this is what happens. Like when you call me in the middle of the workday. But it's great. But they're growing up in this space where we talk about this, and now it doesn't even faze them. Not both my kids are in high school, and they're like, oh yeah, like their mom's a tampon, cool.
Yeah. But one of the things that we do, and sort of an extension of where our product line is we did create a first period box. And really that was to be able to have that moment. We call it our box of confidence, like being able to get this beautiful box. It's also termed the Tiffany box of tampons because it's this beautiful blue. You open it up and it has all the product in it. So like she has a moment to discover, and she can discover on her own, or it's with a parent or an adult. But then there's like empowering stickers in there, and there's a great pouch and just stuff to help her get prepared for what that moment is. So she can start to feel empowered and not worry about, and have to hide. We want these girls to not hide it. We want to teach them, their friends, to not hide it, because that's also, it perpetuates amongst these young girls that, no, don't hide this. Because most of the time, unfortunately, the education is coming from, and I don't want to say unfortunately, but yes, I will, unfortunately, it's coming from school nurses. And there's actually a statistic out there that, 50% of the states don't have to actually teach puberty health and puberty and sexual health in school. So 50% of the states are not teaching this. 25% actually don't have to have, of those 50 that are doing it, they're not doing it accurately.
They don't have to have factual. And no offense to nurses. My mother-in-law.
No, listen, like, but that's the part too, is like, if we can start to, in the household, All it is, it's just this little box that can help the conversation.
Right.
Conversation starters. And for the mom who's uncomfortable, it's a conversation starter.
I love the
Really,
box.
that's just yeah.
Is the box available now? I know they said they were really hot and they were.
They're very hot. They're available on our website as well as Amazon and about to launch, and we sell out of them every single week. And that's like we've been kitting them ourselves. So all of our other product, like, just ships through our DC, but we actually do kit these. But we are about to launch with FSAstore.com and Target. So really, really excited to be able to get this out to, just more and more people. So that there is this availability of this first conversation for, adult and young girls to feel more empowered and confident when it does come time to their period.
And it's such a good tool. And to go back to, like, all the education shouldn't have to come from school. Like, if you can bring this home and have this conversation, and it really is it's a box of joy. It'll make you
Yes.
happy when you
And take the negative. Yes, I think that's the piece too. Is like, we want this to feel celebratory. Like, it is an exciting time. It's a daunting time. You don't know what to expect to your daughter's. Like, if she's heard all of these things, make it exciting and make it happy. And remove. I think that's the piece too. Is like, we've instilled in us, like, oh my God, you don't want to have your period. Like, no, don't do that. And that's the part. That's the shift in the conversation too that needs to happen.
Love it. So what are some tips for moms or people with teens to open up that conversation, or maybe if the teen is not really interested, like what's the best education source that you have? Or
That's okay.
Yeah. Talk about Girlology, I think. Yeah.
So we have a partnership with an organization called Girlology. They are a great platform. It was actually started by two pediatricians, so Melissa and Trish, and they really built this out from their patients coming in, the moms as well as the teens coming in and asking questions about puberty and first periods and all of this. And now what the platform is they're an incredible resource for puberty, prepubescent, all the way up through college. And it's all conversations that really you need to have. And it was started out for just girls, and now they've included boys, and now they're doing stuff to just definitely be much more gender neutral. So they've been a great partner to us. In our period boxes, we have an ebook that takes you directly to their source of their puberty guide. And it's very inclusive. It is great conversations for both the teen as well as for the mother, to have those conversation starters, to just make it comfortable. Like, it's us that's uncomfortable. It's the mom that all you just have to do is just open the door and take a deep. I mean, my biggest advice is for folks that are uncomfortable, just take a deep breath and start the conversation. Like, and it's more of like, what do they know? They don't know. They don't know what they don't know. And so it is our responsibility to just help and guide in some of the basics. I mean, some of the basics are know your body, know the real terms for your body. I think that's a big piece in education. I mean, there's too many words that go on out there about, you've got people celebrating the vajayjay. Like, it's not a vajayjay, like, it's a vagina. And sometimes it makes you uncomfortable, but so I think there's just pieces too, like within that education, that we just have to.
And I also think it's very easy to bring them in when you start to talk about the things that are important to them. So because we all have daughters like around the same age, so now my daughter's a freshman in high school, and really what drew her in is they care about organic. Like, she uses organic lip gloss, for God's sakes. Like, she's got so they really want organic. They're huge in sustainability. Like, this is a really sustainable play. This is why you should choose a sustainable option. They're very in tune with their health and their, what they see, on social media and such. So they love that it's a healthy choice that they're making. And we're also a social impact brand. They're really, I mean, this generation is so powerful. And that's what's so exciting, that to see that they care about our planet. They care about, eating clean. They care about giving back and social impact. So we also give back with every purchase, and these girls are getting involved in working with our giving partners to give back in Girls in Need and to be part of these donations. Even last year, we masked up, for Mother's Day, and went to the local YMCA to donate product and brought our daughters. And it was such a big deal because they care so much about all of the things that this is all about, that I think that's another good way to open the conversation, is to talk about the things that are really important to them.
Yeah. There's actually, it's interesting. We've been noticing as well, there's almost this groundswell that is happening out there with certain moms in different pockets. And we're starting to see what we had done prior to COVID. We had done some of these giving parties or period parties. But we're starting to see a lot more of this happen. So you're seeing that in community, but it's how do we partner and help raise the awareness of these conversations that are happening out there, because they are starting, but we've got to really amplify it. And how can we amplify it? We can a little bit more because we are a brand, but it's just conversations like this to be able to let people know that there are resources out there. And the period parties they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. We sat on one probably about a month ago, and it was down in Atlanta. And this woman, like what she does for her community and her conversations, and it is, again, just you said it from the beginning of like what you guys and your mission is similar. It's just about empowerment, it's knowing, it's advocacy, like all of those pieces that are so important. And so that's the other part I think we're getting really excited about, is how can we also partner with amazing women that are already doing this out there and help them continue to amp the message.
Was that an actual structure like the period party, or was this just an individual?
It was. So she's done, this was, I think, her third annual one. She's really just an amazing woman. She actually does a lot of stuff on postpartum as well. But I can would definitely send you some information on her. But there's some others. We've connected with a woman down in Austin, down in Long Island, out in California. And so we're starting to create some of these relationships too, so we can help them amplify their voice.
That would be really cool if like a bunch of moms could come together and kind of have a format for it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
It would be overwhelming maybe if you didn't talk about this every day.
Yeah.
To figure out, how to bring this. So I love these resources. This is fabulous conversation.
Yeah. Great.
Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you would like to share?
I feel like we really hit
I don't
on
know, but I know
time. Yeah.
we are definitely sending you a tampon costume. It's amazing.
And a first period box.
Yeah, so
I know we're a little past, but we'll still send you a first period box, right? I think, yes.
And actually, this will be in the intro, but just for anybody who skipped the intro, there is going to be a coupon code below here. And actually all month we're being sponsored. So Zesty Ginger 20 is the coupon code. So you can head on over and get 20% off to try out some products. And like you said, like maybe once we get in a habit, I was going to say a rut, but we'll say a habit of using the same thing. So that could be a good option for someone to reach out a little bit. I'm just excited to have this as a resource for my girls, and just to know, like, at least that area, like just to feel really good about products, because that's very important to me. When you said the thing about the plastic applicators, I was like, oh wow, I guess I'm in the hippie land too. I'm from New Hampshire, so I was like, I don't know that if I ever have used a plastic applicator, so I wasn't even thinking about that as such a potential pollution aspect, but that makes a lot of sense. I just forget that.
Yeah. Yes, I was the same. I mean, I was cardboard as well, but no, it's just that this is the way that we can truly make the change, is on the environmental piece, is making some of these adjustments here. And that's the part that has not been adjusted. So, I think the big thing for us, kind of just to close, honestly, what's super important to so many brands is, it is, please follow us. That's really, well, more importantly, actually, you'll get to see Thyme in the tampon suit. I mean, that's actually probably the best thing. So, but follow us. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook. So it's Top Organic Project. On TikTok, we are called Top Tampon, not Top Organic Project. And also, the thing is once you do try our product, our reviews, the customer response to our product has been phenomenal. And really, truly, like, when you're using a tampon, what we do all worry about is it gonna perform? Our performance is fantastic. And the reviews are there to share, to show you. That's another thing too. I mean, for us as female entrepreneurs and as in a startup, a review is gold. And so also wherever people can, share also their reviews and their love for the brand, we would so greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
And just reminding everyone here listening to vote with your dollars, right? So I actually don't pay attention to price when it comes to things that are really important to me. So I can't say I know the comparison. And let's say it is a little bit more, then this is not just a matter of what's going in your body. This is also a matter of what's manufactured every single day in the world and what's going into our soil and into our air. It's like, you may not be using plastic, but if everybody else still is, this is still in our water, messing up, this, like, hello, estrogen dominance. It's what everybody's dealing with, right? It's like just literally in our soil and our water. So spreading this message beyond just the people here, because the people here are often of the category that are pretty aware of this topic, but sharing their information would be really awesome.
Great. I love that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. This was great.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting edge information.
If you found these podclasses helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.